Welcome back to the Alpha stream, folks, for the CCL. My name is Seymour. Alongside me is Cruz. We're here to bring you Queen's University versus Rochester Institute of Technology as we jump into the Northeast Tier 2 section. And Cruz, this is going to be an interesting one because it's our first look at Tier 2 inside of Stage 2, at least in the Alpha stream. And both of these teams that we have on stream, have been extremely mediocre when we've seen glimpses of them. A little bit of greatness here and there, but mostly inconsistencies.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, right? When you're looking at teams that are in the Tier 2 division, it's a lot of inconsistencies when you're looking at these schools. And I mean, if you guys are wondering what you're kind of playing for in Tier 2 right now, because this is the first time that we're really getting to see Tier 2 teams on the Alpha stream at the moment, you're really trying to play for top 4 right now within the Tier 2 division. If you can make that top 4, it gives you a really good seed going into the last chance qualifier, because at this point, you don't have a play-in like you do in the Tier 1 stream. You can't. If you're top 8, you're not automatically going to qualify for playoffs. You need to go through that LCQ bracket. And to get into it, you'd much rather be a top seed team playing against either the bottom seeds of Tier 3 or the top seeds of Tier 4 than playing other Tier 2 schools or even Tier 1 schools if you are towards the bottom half of things. So definitely very important to finish in that top 4 of the Tier 2s.
Well, Jesse, let's take a look at this because, it's going to be hard for these two to kind of push out of this Tier 2, but let's take a look at this head-to-head and see what they're matching up like against each other. Just to get a feel of each other, just to start things off a little hot. Run us through what we're getting out of these two squads, because when you look at things in the stats section, they're pretty even.
They are pretty even, right? When you look at things, I mean, like a bigger sample size, I think, on the side of RIT when you're looking at the overall of things. But when you're looking at everything here, it just kind of shows you that RIT has gone more the distance in a few of their series than what you've gotten from Queens in a lot of them. But I mean, 6-5 from Queens, 7-4 for RIT. Neither team, like we said, has really stuck out. Neither team has really been able to have those big pop-off moments. I think the big thing that when we're going through the rest of the series, what we'll be highlighting through, Colin, is that we're looking for how these teams have played against other teams of their caliber, because that's largely what you'll be playing in Stage 2 against the other Tier 2 teams.
No, it is, and really starting off hot with a win tonight, against a team that is side by side with you in comparison. It would be a very good start to this season for you, a very big confidence boost. But let's introduce our home team for the night. When you're looking at Queen's University, you're looking at SU, Conceited, Narcissist, and Lucid, where when you're looking at this one, you're really eyeing on Conceited being the main slayer for this team.
Yeah, you really are. Conceited has been a great player for this roster so far. When you're looking across the board in any of the matches that they've played, he has really been the player who has stepped up, and he, by far and away, in my mind, looking like the top player on this roster. But there is another player on this roster I really do want us to highlight out, and this goes back to the same point that I was making before, where you're looking at how you played against other teams in terms of the same caliber as you, especially going into Stage 2, and that's Lucid. Lucid against a team like Waterloo, who is very, very much so a team that Queens was able to compete with, really struggled in that series. So you need him to step it up through, not just in this match, but through all of Stage 2 if you want to be able to make it into that top 4.
Especially when you're looking across the board at the team that you're facing up against. As we introduce our away team for the night, Jesse, Rochester Institute of Technology. You're looking at Stu Ponzio, Astro, Nemo, and Sufa. When you're looking at this team again to go up against them, you got to look at Astro and Nemo for this one. They are going to be the ones to kind of go toe-to-toe with Conceited as his main slayer. They're going to be the ones leading the slaying column on their own team.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been very, very good players for this roster as well for RIT. But I think the thing with this RIT school that kind of confuses me when I was looking through a lot of their stats is that they play pretty even a lot of the way across. I mean, like, yes, Astro and Nemo will probably be the two players that you see kind of leading the way for the most part through most of the game modes. But of course, you'll get like the pop-off moments for Supa and for Stuponzio every once in a while. But I think the big thing for this team is just consistency. We haven't really seen a ton of it this year, and we need to see it a little bit better. When they were also going up against other Tier 2 teams, it was just a whole lot of matches where they got smoked by Utica and they went to a Game 5 against Farmingdale. Everybody needs to step on this roster if they want to make that top 4.
When we take a look at the maps and modes for this series, Jesse, it's looking like a pretty typical one for Vanguard. You're opening up with the Icebreaker on Bocage Hardpoint. Match 2 is going to be Search and Destroy on Berlin. Map number 3, Control Gavitu. But if it goes the distance, Hardpoint Berlin, Search and Destroy Tuscan. How are you feeling about this overall one? Because, it's like a typical, Vanguard best of 5 that you're looking at. But anything kind of popping out to you?
I think only one thing really pops out to me when you're looking at this overall 5-map series, and that's map number 3. That Gavutu control really pops out to me. I think it's a really good pick for Queens to have that map be able to come through. Because when you look at the overall of everything, Queens is 0-3 on Tuscan control. It has not been a very good mode for them this season so far. So to get that Gavutu to start us off, or sorry, to come through for that game number 3 for that swing map mode, it's a big mode for them, especially looking at the other side. When you look at RIT, they are 0-1 going into Gavutu control, 3-1 on Tuscan. So to be able to ban out Tuscan, not have that map come through, that's a really big advantage for Queens going into the back half of this series. If they either need to close it out there or find a win in that map to extend the series, I think that's a great map for them to have there.
Well, we're going to have to see how that fares out when we get to that map number 3. But hopping in with this Bokash map 1, Jesse, we already highlighted the main slayers of both teams. And in a map like Bokash, that is going to be a big factor inside of it. Right off the rip, Queens spotting on the less preferred sides. They're going to be looking to kind of push through this map, pick up the kills as they go, and flip the script on RIT right off the rip. And it looks like they're getting that job done. Lucid on 3 in a row, trying to pick off these players at the respawn. But Nemo shuts them down, so not happening just yet.
It's a great start, though. I mean, how often do you see off the break of a Bokaj, you get 20 seconds inside P1? Really can't complain about that, and they're still gaining time here. They got another little bit of a wipe there. They find 3 out of the 4, and you know what? The time continuing to raise up here. You will finally get another challenge through the middle of the map from RIT, but largely, I mean, this is a great job from Queens off the start here. You don't even have the preferred spawn, so now your main focus is pushing through, trying to flip these spawns out, but at the same time, you've already got 30 seconds here. I mean, a job well done on P1.
Job well done indeed. Let's see if you can expand off of that, though. Still RIT in control of those spawns, but player number 3, Supa, is going to spawn up all the way on the opposite, and Nemo, 3 in a row, is able to lock down 2. But inside tanks, this is still a battle ensuing. Narcissist cleans up Stu Ponzu. He's going to get his toes on in now for Queens to start collecting this time. Look for the respawn. Supa getting around into the back, but he's going to be shut down as well. Another 3 down for Queens to take over this barn control and take over this site. But in doing so, I mean, RIT, they haven't yet really given up on it. Astro's still keeping this time progressing for RIT. And even though Queens, they got a good break up the start, they didn't turn it into anything. It's round number 2 that they're looking to wipe these players off, and Concedian's going to win the fight off this one. But for the last 20 seconds, he's going to need to find more.
It's kind of funny, right? Because you looked at that overall hill through the first 40 seconds of it, and you would think that that was looking great for RIT to get a good chunk of time, but only going to walk away with 20 seconds here. And Queens will actually be able to pick up the scrap time. Now, note, you do lose the rotations over towards this Grandma Hill. You will have RIT being the first team here, being the first team set up and ready to go. But, I mean, if you're Queens, you're not really going to complain about that. You don't lose a ton of time. You still hold your 30-point lead, and now you go into P3, and you just need another break. But breaks on Bokaj, they're not the most impossible thing to have.
No, they're not. As you see, Stu finds Lucid. And this is going to be a trade battle now to see who's going to get on the inside, as Queens are going to get their toes in. Spawning out at the back, RIT. Got to be careful not to get pinned here. Queens looking to fight from the front line, but here comes the break back from RIT. Stu's going to drop on the inside, and follow that, the rest of his team as well. Queens, they slay out again. Still spawning RIT in the background, now set up on these power positions. Looking to drop them right into the blender, but RIT still managed to find their way back in. Astro finds a big 2, make it 3, and Nemo's going to close it out.
So one thing I'm noticing from Queens for the first bit of this game is that they're just doing a fantastic job of fighting from the front of the hill and just holding from the front of the hill. I mean, again, you only allow 20 seconds to go the way of RIT there, and it's going to be the scrap time. You should be the first team being able to rotate over here, but actually we'll get a 1v1, and RIT will flip these spawns out again. But Queens, I mean, they're going to be battling once again from the front of the hill here. I mean, you got to think for this roster, you want to start to be able to pick it up and maybe even start to run away with this game. If they start to be the first team to rotate to a lot of these hills, they might be able to find a lot of success, because holding from the front and not allowing RIT to get a good amount of time has been very good for this roster, and a 4 down should lead to a good chunk of time here.
Nemo was 1 away from a glide bomb as well. Was able to manage to scrape away a strafing run, so keep that in the back of your head for the rest of this series, folks. 48-75 inside barn. Nemo, another 2 pieces. He's been stepping up to the plate for RIT to just be able to compete inside of this Bokaj. Around the outside, Astro closes the door onto Narcissus, now setting up for the pinch, but Conceded. Eyes on, reads him like a book, snaps to the front line, not able to take it. It's an answer back of 3. This is a 3-for-1 trade for RIT to just keep some pressure inside of this hill.
Well, largely through the first portion of this game, you still see a 30-point lead here for Queens, and it's the same 30-point lead that they've held throughout the entire portion of this game since that P1 hill. They just have basically split hill for hill with RIT without having any control of spawns throughout any of those next 3 hills. So can't really complain if you are the likes of Queens here. You're still battling from the front and you're still holding on to your lead. So if they want to be able to come back in this game, I still stand by my last statement. You need to make sure you're setting up early for some of these hills, winning these rotations. That will lead to more success for this team. But you know what? They're still getting the job done at the end of the day. They're still finding the points inside the hill. So again, you just can't really complain if you're Queens at the moment.
No setup, no problem right now for Queens as they're going to be spotting up in the back line, looking to take another swing at this hill. Conceded, leading the charge, but Nemo has been a terror on the map. 5 in a row again. Looking to now push for those full streaks. Stu is going to drop to Lucid, but it looks like the damage has been done, Jesse. Is Nemo just soaking up this time on the inside. RIT bringing this back to about even into the second set of rotations, and Nemo has really turned up the dial, 21 and 12.
What's crazy, too, is when you look at RIT, I mean, you're down 8-9 points going into this, but you were pretty largely outslaying the likes of Queens in that first set of rotations. I mean, you got Astro at 18 and 14, Nemo at 21 and 13. It's really just Supa that needs to step up. You got to think if you get a good portion from him into the back half of this game, that's when RIT could really start to bring their way back in, start to win a few of those trade battles out, and start to get a good amount of time. But once again here on P1, a hill where you don't normally see a ton of time, Colin, it's Queens getting a good amount of time here on P1.
And it's not only that, it's that Queens have the better side of the map too, so that's the scary part for it as they are boxing out RIT. An open window now for them to take an opportunity to push out Queens from this hill. 3 go down, now pushing into Barn, but Sue shuts things down on that front, looking to close out for the tank rotation, but a big kill out of Astro is going to definitely keep it alive.
We saw the last time through to this hill. It was RIT set up early, Queens battling from the front. Well, this time you don't have that through and through setup here for RIT. You've still got Queens largely trying to battle in. You do finally get that final player out of the back of stable, so now you can get the full setup here for RIT. And Queens are spawning out a lot further this time than they were in the last set of rotations. This needs to be a good hold for RIT.
RIT, their first lead of the game as well, as they're going to eclipse the lead that Queens had. As you can see, those blue arrows setting up to bottleneck RIT on the inside of this hill. Not going to happen just yet. It is Queens, or RIT still coming up in the sleighs. Supa has turned up the dial 4 in a row, something you wanted to see out of them, Jesse, and it has led to them now the biggest lead we've seen in a bit out of this squad. Supa keeping them out of this now on 5 in a row. If he can turn this around into streaks, Jesse, he's going to take your point, and he's going to push it into an even better situation.
Something you absolutely love to see. If you can absolutely find streaks out of the player who's been going the most negative on your roster through the first set of rotations and even into this second set, this could really open up a lot of doors here for RIT, especially if you get that glide bomb. That glide bomb into P5 can really lock down a lot of things. He finds that 6th in a row, only needs one more to find that glide bomb here.
Supa and Nemo shrieking for the team. Bringing RIT to the lead that we see now. Fighting from the front. Queens just haven't been able to get it done since Supa's really turned up. Lead for 7 in a row. Sliding on in is going to be Narcissus. Glide bomb in the pocket of Supa. Here comes the rest of Queens. They find the break from the front. And the contention is going to be out, but they just don't find enough kills to keep toe-to-toe with RIT for now. So RIT still collecting time, but Narcissus is going to come clean up the rest of them for a short minute. I mean, this RIT squad, I mean, into the second set of rotations, Jesse, they have really come alive.
They really have, and it kind of comes down to the same point I was making with Queens, right? I was saying if you can start to get a good setup, or if you can even start to set up in general, that's when you're going to start to see a good amount of success for Queens. But for RIT, they are that team that has been setting up, right? So once they can finally start holding on to some of these hills, this is the result. You're starting to see this team really start to run away with the score just a little bit more and more. But Queens get a 4 down. Now they've got the full setup here for Barn, and just as important as P2 was for Queens to get a good amount of hold, or sorry, for RIT to get a good hold, this is really important hill now for Queens to answer back with.
Inside. Finds Lucid. Nobody collecting time. Into the hill. Big one-on-one at a Narcissist. Clears out the remaining RIT players. Allows Queens now to start soaking up this barn once more. But here comes RIT off the respawns. Looking to break back in for the contention. Supa knows what this last player is. Sue isn't going to go down that easy. It is going to be him to take down Supa and Lucid to clean up the rest of them. So Astro, a late hit back to this hill for the last 28 seconds as they're going to be spawning up a few players in the back. They have a pinch on this for RIT. They're going to get in again just to deny this time out of Queens. And they're going to find the kill onto Lucid to make it their own.
think you need to be careful right now if you're Queens, though. You don't want to push too forward because you don't want to lose these spawns here for next. You already have streaks on the side of RIT, so breaking into this next hill will be that much easier, so you don't want to give them anything for free, and giving them that spawn on the right side will be giving them something for free. I would imagine we start to see streaks get invested here unless RIT is able to break from the front immediately.
Well, Queens, they have brought this back inside barn. Marginal lead for RIT. Streaks, though, in their pocket. Are we going to see them drop? Let's look over this one. Here comes the glide bomb. Lucid's forced on out. Supa looking to pick up the player in the back below. Is going to find Conceded. Good for one. There's the opening now for RIT to flood on in. Eyes from Supa, but still the trade's coming through. Queens, they burned that streak, and they managed to come out on top.
And the streak comes through at a very late portion of the hill as well. It came in with, what, 30 seconds left when they realized they weren't able to get it. I don't hate the play. I don't hate the execution of trying to do it. It just doesn't fully work out. You should be able to grab these back 15 seconds now if you're RIT. And if that's what the streak was used for and that's what you were playing for, I guess job well done there. But not really anywhere else on this map you can use a streak to full effect. So at that point, I guess they've just wanted to get the streak out there, get it down, and just try to stop Queens from having that solid hold that they had on it. So if that was the job for the streak, the streak came through. It was successful in some ways, not so much in others. You didn't really find a good chunk of time, and it's only a 10-point lead here heading into the last set of rotations.
Big read from Astro and a Conceded on the inside. Clock's going to be getting burned. With it sitting 190 to about 183, Jesse. We got a minute left on this time bank. So you got to keep your eyes on that, especially in a map like Bokosh. That could very well come down to time at the end of things. But you look at that kill feed, and RIT now in the same situation that we saw Queens in the second set.
Yeah, exactly the same setup that we saw Queens in, where they're able to not only hold on to the right side of the map, or sorry, onto the left side of the map, and really kind of zone out the Queens players, but they're getting a good chunk of time here on P1. Exactly what you want to do. You don't see it too often, but throughout this game, all three times that we've gone to the hill, we've seen one team at least get a little bit more time than the others, and it's led to a good amount of success. But largely the focus for both these teams now, it's going to be on these P2 spawns, and you're seeing a lot of fights from these RIT players pushing forward on the map, trying to spawn them out, and they've done so except for the fact that you still have one player in the back here. Stu owns you. I would imagine this glide bomb gets invested. You try to find the kill.
No.
But no, he's going to take out Supa with it, but you do still get the spawn up in the back at the very least for RIT.
Yeah, but Queens fighting for the front. It was their story to success in the first set of rotations. Now, looking to mimic that here in the third set. 202 to 213. Astro getting shot up from that barn. RIT stop the clock. They're going to be into this hill. Narcissist over the shoulder. Clears it out. Looks for second. Is going to take down Stu. And off of that, Stu, a nice set nade is going to clean up Nemo. So Queen's still fighting from the front of this hill, Jesse. And they're still definitely making this happen.
It's a perfect flip out again from RIT, though. You get the exact flip where you want it, when you want it, and now everybody's going to be spawning up on this right-hand side. They only need 30 seconds left if they want to be able to take this game number one, and they should have the spawns. They should have the setup that they want going into Grandma's Hill, and if they can hold off Queens, trying to fight this from the front again, they can absolutely win it here. You need to keep your eyes on Stu, though. He has slipped through the back line here for Queens.
Definitely the make or break right now for the squad. Patience until he goes, but he's lost out on teammates now. Sue forced to make it a push into this. Clears up the hill. Can he find any more? Lucid comes to the rescue. Is 3 down into the hill. Nemo comes out big again for his team. 231 for RIT. Off the respawn. They're going to be able to set this up once again. It's do or die for Queens. Push into Bokosh. One last attack in from the front. Lucid finds Nemo still into the hill, though. RIT, they only need 10 seconds left to fight this one out. And they're going to find the kill onto Narcissist. So, really, if you're Queens, you're just pushing this one at a time. And you don't even have the lives to make this happen. You're falling on either side. 4 seconds left. Can anybody even get into this hill? Jesse to touch. Player number 7 is going to make a chance, but he can't. RIT, they get to 250 first. They get the lockdown in Grandma's. And they take map number 1.
Queens was looking so good through a lot of that game, at least through that first set of rotations. They were looking like they were doing a good job of controlling everything they wanted at each other. They were fighting from the front of the hill, which doesn't always lead to a ton of success here, but it was working for them through the first set of rotations. What happened, though, in the second set was you started actually holding on to the hills for RIT. They really did a much better job of not only getting early setup and setting up where they wanted to, but also holding on, not allowing the likes of Queens to be able to break through. And I was looking at those stats there for a second, Colin, and two things really stand out for me in that stat sheet. One, Nemo almost dropped 50, a very good game from him. Exactly what we were expecting to see from the lead slayer on this RIT roster. But from Queens, I believe it was Conceded who it was. Yeah, it was Conceded. I think Conceded only had 30 engagements throughout that entire game. That is a very, very low amount of engagements for Bacaj. I don't care if you're an AR player. I don't care if you're a sub. But like 30 engagements, you need more engagements than that. You are not doing anything for your team by sitting in the back and not engaging inside of the hill.
It was just Bocage thing. So, I mean, if we could take a look at those stats, we can really dive into the rest of them, Jesse, because it's not only that. You highlighted Supa. After the second set of rotations, he was what, like 4 and 10?
It was like
maybe?
5 and 15 or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds a lot. Like 5 and 15 just wasn't cutting it, and he really turned it up. Yes, still negative, but the fact that he comes out 29 and 35, you know, that 7 spree that he went on really turned things around for the team.
Yeah, so just kind of going back to my conceded point, when you're looking at this, Colin, and you're looking overall, I mean, his teammate had 80 engagements to his 30. I mean, that just feels like you're going into a lot of fights without a 4-man unit, in my opinion, when you're looking at that. You need to make sure you're fighting on all fronts, and having only 30 engagements on your side is not going to cut it in a 250 to 226 game on Bacaj. I mean, like, you need at least 50, maybe even 60 engagements, which you're seeing out of most of the other players on this roster. And I got to think that that's why they weren't able to win a lot of these rotations and lock down a lot of these hills, is because Conceded may have just been nowhere to be found. Yeah, you went even, but I really don't think you're doing much for your team when you're going 15 and 16.
I don't even know how it's possible on Bocage.
I don't know either. I mean,
that on Bocage.
I mean, I play Bacaj. I'm just getting put into the blender, right? So I mean, I guess it's better than that, but that is just tough.
It's definitely a tough one indeed. But looking into this map number 2, Search and Destroy on Berlin, Queens Esports had a very strong start to that map number 1. They faltered in the end. RIT was able to bring this back, but now they need to bounce back, because going into that Gava 2, it was a big highlight for you, and Queens, they want to bounce back here.
Okay, I feel a little bit better, Colin. Our sport just came in my ears. Let me know that that Conceded did DC for a little bit.
He did.
That game. So that makes a lot more sense there, that he only had 30 engagements. I take back what I said. That was just an unfortunate loss then for Queens at the end of the day. You can't really pin that one on any one individual player. Got to feel bad for the man as well there, because if you disconnect for a little bit inside,
that
of
makes
Bacaj,
more sense.
That still leaves you at a terrible man disadvantage through a lot of that game. At least he was able to get back in, fight towards the end of it. But that makes a lot more sense as to why RIT was able to run away with it throughout the middle of that game. But still, I think either way, I think RIT was going to be able to close out that map 1 with just the simple fact of that they were the first team on every single hill, it felt like, Colin, rotating to the next hill and setting up. I really don't think they got out-rotated once. Maybe outside of P5 on the second set of rotations, Queens looked like they were the first team set up there. But outside of that, it was just all RIT early on. Exactly.
And then they had streaks to break in, and they didn't need to get the rotation over to P5 because they were just able to use the rest of their utility to do it for themselves. Now, heading into the Search and Destroy, as we kind of move on from that point, I think the one thing to highlight is that DC at a Conceded, you can see that it was a pretty big mood kill inside of that hard point, and it was really able to kind of stumble them so that RIT can pick up a window of opportunity and push into their own advantage. Now, into the Search and Destroy, I want to see the exact same thing that I saw at the start of that Bocage, just dominance. They had a fantastic start to the hard point, and if they could do that again in the Search and Destroy, this could be where they bounce back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Queens can come out and they can just, it's I can't exactly remember what map we're going to next. Berlin. So if they can come out on Berlin, and you can just find a few trades either towards the A side or towards the B side, give yourself the man advantage that you were giving yourself off the break off on Bacaj. You can absolutely have that lead you to a lot of success on Berlin Search and Destroy. A lot easier said than done, obviously. But you know what? We said the same thing about getting a good amount of time on P1. And I think that's where they probably got their most time throughout that entire game, probably a good 90 seconds through the 3 hills that they went to P1 on Bacaj. They were able to get a decent amount of time there. So if Queens can find a way to break into some of these sites, hold on to them, and find a good amount of trades against this RIT squad, get that man advantage, they absolutely can bring themselves back into this series.
And I got to see Berlin a little bit over the Bravo stream today across 2 other schools, and the big case was those first bloods over towards the B side. I didn't see a lot of A hits, and I expect that to stay true over into this series as well. The B side, it's going to be a big opportunity for the attackers to get the bomb down early, but on the defensive side, if you want to get that retake going, you're going to want to have numbers in your advantage when that's the case. So first bloods, it's going to be a big thing if you're the defensive team.
Yeah, it really is. First blood's absolutely everything to kind of shut down offensive pushes, because if you can get that player like you were alluding to pushing over towards be that bomb carrier, you can really put that offense into a rough spot, and it kind of stops them from being able to get that through and through setup that you see over on the B side towards that back warehouse, where you can put the bomb down, get a player set up in the back there, just be able to watch over everything from the top of warehouse, really shut that down. That's going to be your main focus, is finding those first bloods on this map and mode in particular. But RIT, they're going to go against the pace of what we were calling, hit right over towards the A site, right off the rip here, and it's going to be a full-on 4-man hit. And Queens, I think as soon as you realize there's nobody over towards B, that's when you're going to see these two players either start to make their rotation or start to try to make a flank over towards the back of A.
Well, they've waited long enough, and now if you want to go to A, it's going to be a 3-on-3. So things even for this hit. Queens have made the right adjustments, but with Nemo backing off, it doesn't seem like this is really the end destination for this squad. Still looking at Lucid around the end. Wants to get aggressive. Nobody backs down. So B site. That looks like we're rotating to.
There is one player here, though, for Queens that is conceded inside the corner. He's going to see that door open up, but he gets checked. This should be an easy bomb down now, and a 3v3 as well. So, RIT, as soon as this bomb goes down, I would expect one player start to make the wrap over towards the back of warehouse to shut things down. Stu will find one as well on the top of window, so that's going to make this retake that much harder here for Queens.
That's why Stu pwns you. Right there. Shots like that. 2v2, though. Answer back from Su. Supa in the window, and the one-on-one in the back goes the way of RIT. So keeping up with the momentum from map number 1. They make things look good again. And really, that shot from Stu was one to push at the distance. Supa set up to put it down.
Love to see that. It's one of those situations, right, where they go over towards that A site. They initially try to hint it out and snip it out, see what's going on there. They realize they don't like it, so hey, you know what? Let's just wrap this over towards B. And as soon as they find that first kill over towards B, I mean, make it a 3v3, and then you find the one in the window as well. It just makes life that much easier on the B site to get that down. And the numbers advantage is just so hard to take back on this site once you get it. And Lucid, he looks like he wants to try to make this crossover to B. He will cross over, but Supa has a sniper in hand. Astro finds first blood as well, and Supa might just be able to continue to make these odds that much harder for Queens. But bomb will go down, and now you want to see them start to try to make this wrap out. And player 8's going to have a big job to do to stop this rotation over. But he doesn't spot the player in the back, I don't think.
No, Astro takes down Lucid, so numbers, RIT even farther. Patience from conceded, but Stu may have just gotten away. He's going to leave it really up to Stu on the inside of this bomb site to hold things off. A 2v1 in that front is going to be quite difficult, but 20 seconds. Time really being burnt here. Astro finds Sue, now conceded last alive in a 1v4, and already hopping the bomb is going to be Astro, expecting the teammates to pick up for the trades, and that's what you're going to get. It's a near flawless round from RIT to go up 2-0.
That's a great round, right? To just be able to come out, you stop that initial player pushing over. I mean, well, you don't get the first one, but you get the second player trying to make the cross, and you get the numbers advantage, and you just play off your numbers throughout the rest of the round there. Every time a single gunfight, it felt like that they were taking there was a 2-on-1 where it was just that much harder for the individual player to be able to make an adjustment, make a play throughout that round. And Queens, it's looking like it's another little bit of a struggle here for this roster inside of Search and Destroy, and this is where this team was struggling for a lot of this season. I mean, only 4-5 in the mode on the season. It needs to be a little bit better for this roster in the second stage of the season.
Put spots out 2 in the rotation at A, so RIT, they know that the numbers are going to be low over at B, but what a big kill out of Narcissus to drop that bomb, and he doubles down on the Stu as well. Just going to give enough time for Queens now to readjust and get this rotations over to the B side. Narcissus goes absolutely astronomical for the squad, but Astro's going to find the equalizer through burning. A 2v2. Supa with a sniper in hand, so not really the weapon of choice.
And through these first couple of rounds, I haven't even seen Supa running the sniper, so I'm not sure if it was just this round or if he just hasn't found a ton of value out of it. But Narcissus finds that kill. Supa needs to answer back, but he's only got the pistol in hand, and he's not able to find any value again out of this sniper pistol combo. I believe he just spotted Su on the cross. Not able to find the kill, though, so he's just putting himself into a tougher and tougher spot. The sniper's great at the start of rounds, but once you get towards these later portions of the round and you just have a pistol and a sniper left in your hands, things just get tougher and tougher for you.
It's kind of a sticky situation. Covers an auto.
Only 25 bullets, though. Yeah,
and he's outside in the open, in no man's land, and Queens are able to put their first on the board. A big play as well. A solo play out of Narcissus. He finds all 4 inside of the round, so an ace from Narcissus to make it happen.
Yeah, really good round there just get one on the board there for Queens. And it kind of starts with you get that first blood, you open things up, and you're just really able to lock down RIT, not allow them to get too much across the map. You got into that 3v2 situation. I thought Astro was going to make a big play from behind. Unfortunately, was only able to find one for RIT, and then one Super was just left in that 1v2 with the sniper. Makes life a lot harder. And you saw that get out of dodge immediately. You see the glint from that sniper. Supa was licking his chops until the player dodged it and got away very, very quickly. And I don't think Narcissus just spotted that player either. So should be a free player able to get through, and Astro actually finds first blood out of it too through middle of the map.
No way he stays alive from that one. Yeah. Narcissus gets the trade 5 in a row as well. 1 away from a strafing run. Bomb goes down at B. An equal 3-on-3 for this. Nemo's in a spot to know that nobody's really in the post plant with his team, and he's actually maybe going to find the skeleton soon. No, it's poor timing, but still gets the snap. 3v2. RT now numbers for this retake. You're going to be able to collapse on this one. You're going to need that player to get the rotation here. Narcissus getting a flank on the flankers here, and he's going to play that play patiently. Takes down Stu. 1-on-1. Soup is on the inside. He should know where Narcissus is going to be, but finessing each other at 7 seconds left. There's just no time to make it happen. Narcissus again going big for his team.
It's a great play from Narcissus, too. I mean, he noticed that there was only 10 seconds left on the clock. So as soon as he saw that that player wasn't on the bomb, he ducked off of him immediately, jumped back in behind this tank because he knew all he needed to do was play a little bit of time, make sure that that player couldn't be able to go get that defuse. Or if he hopped on the defuse, it would have been a free kill for him to be able to go through. And even more importantly, you find 4 in the round before, you find 3 in this round. And now you've got full streaks as well. And these streaks can be used to full effect on this map. If you drop that glide bomb on the B site, I mean, you're very likely killing the player inside of the shack. I mean, if there's more than one inside and around it, it just kind of limits RIT to having it towards this A site now.
RIT, they recognize it. And over at A, a 2v2, with how passive the last 2 players are playing here. Supa opens up, big pick onto Lucid. You can already see Queens making the adjustments. Player number 5, Narcissus. He's opened up the back end, still continuing on this spree. It's 8 in a row for himself. Evens us up to 3-on-3, and most importantly, kind of trapping RT in this situation. I don't think they know Su's going to be out here. Sup is going to get aggressive again. That's not bombed down, but numbers to Queens.
And now a 3v2 as well. Oh, you don't get the trade, or you do get the trade here at least, but Conceded's in the back line. He finds another, and just going to leave Nemo all by himself. And you know the positioning as well, because Nemo did just find that kill onto Narcissus. So Nemo's actually with bomb, going to get out of dodge, finds one as well. Ooh. But this should at least allow you to know that he's starting to make this wrap over towards B, but they called the bluff perfectly. Nemo, he made it look like he was going towards B, wraps back over towards A, and Su's in the perfect position to shut this down.
I think Su just did he not? Well, soon enough he is. And Nemo, you thought you got here completely scot-free, but no, Su, like you said, calls his bluff, goes back, checks it again. You know it's a 50-50, so you're just going to wait for him to plant that bomb, and the internal clock says, hey, go check A, make sure nobody's on it. He goes, he checks it, and it's a free kill.
Yeah, I love that play. I mean, I think what Nemo was trying to do there as well, when he slid to the left originally after finding that first kill through middle of the map, I think he was trying to make it look, or at least bait the kill cam, like he was going over towards that B site. But yeah, they called the bluff perfectly on the side of Queens, and that's going to leave them in 3 rounds in a row now for this roster. They're going to take this bomb back over towards this B site again. This time, though, no bluff shown over towards A off the rip. It's just going to be a straight-on B hit here, and Lucid's going to go down immediately to the automaton of Astro.
Can Narcissus go big inside the mail room? Big yes. As the answer back from Queens, it's not just a trade, but it's 2 kills to give them numbers. And Narcissus, I think he spotted Stu, so they have an understanding where at least one player is. Going to make this B hit a little bit more comfortable, but Narcissus so quick to the draw to already push into the backline. Stu doesn't know he's there. It's 1 player last alive. Astro in a 1v3. An auto in hand, but you don't know any information on where these Queens players are.
No, you just know where your players have died. That's about it. He gets a terrible timing, too. Oh. Doesn't spot Narcissus in the window, and it was as soon as he looked away that Narcissus was able to peek out there. And Astro, I think he's just waiting for a bomb to go down here before he really commits to trying to do something. The bomb will go down over at the A site. It's going to give him the opportunity to now push through this room here, but I doubt he checks this corner. No, he doesn't. Narcissus hears him, and Narcissus is just going to take the easy kill there. On to Astro, able to close the round out, maybe toying with his food a little bit. But that's 4 rounds in a row now, straight to Queens, Colin.
And Narcissus is the one to make it happen, Jesse. I mean, this guy is a demon. on the map right now, single-handedly winning some of these rounds. Not to mention the ace earlier, really putting him in that position of confidence to do what he's doing right now.
Needed.
He is very much the spark that they needed.
It was what? It was round 3 where he popped the ace, and then the very next round popped 3 in a row right after. Not only find streaks, find 2 in a row, but also give that spark to this Queens roster. And they've just been playing off the back of it so far here throughout this game. And a B hit coming in now from RIT. It's actually more so towards middle of the map. I don't want to kind of say towards a site in particular, but Narcissist will finally get shut down. Is this the answer RIT needs?
Well, it's one of those like, maybe I could do it again. Super says no. Check nade on the roof. No info into conceded. But he did break the doors, so not going to have to break into here just yet. Spotted on the cross. Information down to the player on the inside. Can Queens go big, but conceded's going to fall, so that should be the bomb plan here. Can Lucid go big on the flank? Stu spots him. 2 big kills out of Stu. And now it's Stu last alive to pull things back in a 1v4 of their own. Can you make it happen? Well, now that they know where you are, it's a big no. They're just going to collapse on you, surge on your position. And RIT, they put 3 on the board.
It's tough, too, because I thought that Queen still wasn't in a terrible situation there, even though Narcissist drops early on in that round. Because you still had another player inside of the B site, you don't normally see 2 players inside and around that site on defense. Maybe on offense, but on defense, it's not normally something you expect. And I don't think that they were expecting him to be in there until they saw him throw the stun out. As soon as they saw that stun, though, it just allowed the rest of the RIT players to be like, oh, look, there's another player here. Let's make sure we get this player out. It's going to give us an easy 4v2. Let's get this bomb down. We should be able to close this round out. It's exactly what ends up happening there. But Queens, they still hold that 1-round lead. Going to move this bomb back over towards this B side immediately. And Lucid will get spotted on the cross, but bomb should very likely be able to go down here. And actually, Luz conceded again early on in this round here, but Narcissist is going to choose to invest this fly bomb, get his team some information.
Time to drop the hammer. Nobody out in the open. Can you still find Stu? No, it hits the roof.
That's tough.
And no way you can slip through the roof. This time around, still Narcissist. He can get it done with his gun. So evens is up. Kill on to Supa. Still the players of RT looking to collapse. Astro finds the trade. 3v2. 26 seconds. Nobody set up inside warehouse. It's Sue deep inside of this back shed. 4 docks. Evens not going to check it. Sue. Evens is up now. Last alive. Can he go big for the squad? No, Astro's going to check him. He goes back in. He takes care of what Nemo couldn't. And 2 big kills out of Astro is going to even us up 4 apiece.
That's a tough round out of Queens there, because not only do you lose the round, but you lose the glide bomb as well. So don't have that free defensive round win with the glide bomb. You choose to invest on offense, and what they're trying to do with the glide bomb there, Colin, is they're trying to drop it and not only find information, but slow the push down, right? Because then you can't push onto the site. Gives your team a little bit more time to push back, get that post plan setup that you want in the back of warehouse. They had the exact setup they wanted. Unfortunately, everybody just fell apart at the seams there for Queens, and you only have a strafing run left now. You only have Narcissist, who's really popping off on this team right now. Lucid needs to step it up. He was our player who we were highlighting on this roster coming into this one. We said he struggled in the last of Waterloo. Needs to make sure he's stepping up here if you want to be able to come out in stage 2 and be effective here. 1-8, not how you want to do so. Hopefully you can pick it up towards the back half of this game, but again, it's conceded. He will find a first blood. I feel like he's either getting first blooded or finding first blood through a lot of these rounds here, and it will leave them in a 3v4 now.
Either the blooder or the bloody. I don't even know if that's a term, but it is. It's
pretty much the Pristini role.
Yeah, it very much is the Pristini role at that. But leaving RIT now in lesser numbers, they're trapped inside of mailroom. Top third conceded doesn't know that Stu is there. Strafing run out of Narcissus. Is he going to drop this right onto that B site? Both players sitting there. They're going to be able to kind of sneak away with their lives. No, Narcissus at least finds Nemo, snaps onto Stu up top, and instantly turning this round into a Queen's victory. Supa lasts alive the 34 seconds, at least the time in his hand, but with the numbers, you imagine that Queens just looking for the trade here. Supa's able to find 1, but Lucid finally going to shut him down, and that's going to be Queens Esports on map point.
I mean, a valiant effort, though, from Supa. At least you get 2 there in the 4v2, but it's tough. Once that streak comes in, once Narcissist does it with his gun as well, and what's Narcissist on? Either 16 or 17 at the moment. The man is going absolutely off here inside of this game. Absolutely the reason why Queens is in this map right now is just on the back of Narcissist and just how well this man is playing inside this map. Wasn't able to get anything with the glide bomb, but you know what? At least you find 1 with the strafing run there in that round, and now up 5-4. Like you said, match point, they can close it out here. see what they're able to do here inside of this round.
And Narcissus, he says, you think I need the streak? No, I can do both. 15-6. Incredible out of himself.
Oh, Lucid saw that.
Man, it looks like RIT, they want to take the pedal or the fight front lines here. Narcissus, he's watching this. The information's going to be there. Spots the toe. See you later, Supa. Numbers, again, to Queens. Can they find the trade? Player number 4 all the way deep in the back. Nemo finds conceded, but the jig is up. Narcissus is going to be on the hunt. They've pulled Narcissus away from the B site, but they're going to find Nemo. These players, they need to get into the business here because this B site is where the bombs reside again, and Narcissus has made the heads-up play to already sneaking behind. See you later, Stu. Now 1v3. Astro, last alive, finds Narcissus, but now they know exactly where he is. Stu is in the back. Player inside the B site. Wants out Stu. Lines on in.
Bomb
Astro
never was planted.
Oh, he very much could get this one done. Stu not seeing this one. Bomb goes down from Lucid. Takes down Stu. The inside. Spots Lucid. Goes back in for second, but Lucid set up for the kill. Queens, they bounce back 1-1.
Wow. We said Lucid needs to step up here. May not have been the flashiest scoreline, but you get the final kill done at the end of the game here to win it out for yourself. 6 HP left inside. Oh man, that he was
Holy.
one bullet. I mean, a sneeze away from falling there.
I mean,
that is tough.
That's tough. Exactly the word. I was thinking of what to use in that situation. Just tough. That could have been round 11 right there if you're RIT. A big one out of Astro. A 1v3. But it just doesn't happen. And that's going to bring us 1-1 in the series, Jesse.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we were talking about him a lot through that map, but can we keep talking about Narcissus for just a little bit here?
I think you'd love that.
What was it? Round 3 gets the ace. Round 4 gets 3 in a row. Round 10 just there gets the first 3 in the round. Probably would have gotten the ace if he didn't get shot in the back. I mean, a fantastic game from the man. Absolutely popping off for this Queens roster. I think we're going to get a chance to see the final stats here. We're at 18-7. What a map from Narcissus. I mean, honestly, the only player positive on his team right now and single-handedly brings that Queens victory for this map number 2.
I mean, this guy's literally looking like Luke carrying Yoda in his back pocket or in his backpack, and the rest of the team of Queens is Yoda. Narcissus, usually, like, they're fans of themselves, but now I think he's got 2 more fans here on the desk himself. 18-7, 13 of those 18 kills non-traded as well, and going on an 8 spree at the start in those rounds off of that ace, turns it into 3 the next round, just bringing the confidence to the rest of the team to step up to the plate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we touched on it during the game, but he was 100% a spark that they needed through this series. If you just let RIT continue to run away with it, it just would have been more and more momentum building up on top of everything throughout every single round. And they already got off to that 2-0 lead after coming back and beating you inside of the hard point. So it was a great moment for Narcissus to be able to step up, find that ace, then again turn it into streaks, which came into full effect later on in the game. We're able to use those to find a few round wins. Unfortunately, weren't able to get the glide bomb any success off that, but still you find a round win with the strafing run in use, and it's a great game from Queens to tie us up at 1-1.
A great game indeed, and that's, like you said, bringing us 1-1 going into this Gavin 2 control, folks. We're going to head to a break, and when we come back, the swing map, you don't want to miss it.
Really spacing themselves across.
We are back, folks, with more Alpha Stream coverage over this RIT Esports versus Queen Esports matchup. 1-1 after our first 2 maps. Jesse, let's take a look at this series and get a little bit of a recap of what we saw, because it has been nothing but interesting.
It's been very 50-50 off the start of this game. It was a Bacage win on map number 1 for RIT, an unfortunate disconnect for one of the Queens players, and may have just ended up being the difference and going to that Berlin map number 2. I mean, it was looking pretty good for RIT early on. They get those first 2 rounds, but then you just had one player and Narcissus just absolutely take over the game. Man dropped 17 kills inside of that Berlin search and destroy, an ace in 1 round, 3 kills in 2 different rounds, and absolutely took over that game. And now we go towards Gavutu next. This is going to be a big point right now, because coming into this one, this is really the map that I was highlighting, Colin, because this is a big map for Queens. It's one of those maps where they were able to get it to come through. They're not very good at Tuscan control, so to have Gavutu come through gives them a much better chance at a control win here. RIT, it's going to need to be kind of fighting on all fronts like we saw inside of that Bacage hardpoint if they want to be able to come out and they want to take this map against Queens.
And after hardpoint, a little bit of a DC from Queens, you lose the map. Mode's a little bit down in the dumps. Search and destroy. I mean, that spree out of Narcissus definitely must have electrified them. And going into this control, I want to see them keep that momentum up. They looked very hot off of the rip of that hardpoint. And if they can mirror that start into this control, again, I mean, they could just outslay RIT. And oftentimes, outslaying on a map like Gavatu very much can lead to some offensive rounds. So Queen starting on offense. This is what we're going to be looking at. Narcissus, can he do it again? Oh, I hate seeing that, man.
I mean, it really hurts, right? When you see the stun come through, blow up the red barrel on the right side there. But it's a great play from Narcissus. You're not going to get that one on the scoreboard, but it absolutely comes through in terms of total life count. You get that first blood right there with the nade. But everybody else on your team, including you now, going to fall right off the start of this game. So it's a great answer and a great start to this map for RIT. They can now push up the map and really try to pin these Queens players into the back of their spawns.
Oh, Astro not ready is Lucid, and Astro snaps 6 in a row. Not going to be able to find that glide bomb, but what a spree to go on. Give the rest of RT map control over Gavatu. Big fights going out into ring, conceded, looking to overextend for the team, but still not going to allow him to go any farther. Time is stopped at 36 seconds. Now Queen, they have the setup at A. See if they can start getting this progression and maybe even put this away.
Well, they got the first tick of progress through, but they're not really stacked on the side. They've only got 2 players in and on it at the moment, and it's actually going to fall down to just 1 now. And that's going to put Stu on a 5 as well. Weren't able to find streaks with Astro. Actually, I believe they found the very first one. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
They did.
So Stu's still on 5. He's looking to find these streaks. He gets his 6. Glide bomb would be massive, though.
Glide bomb would be huge, especially going to the offense. Lucid, bad timing. But Stu didn't spot him. Oh, finally he gets him. So Glide Bomb's going to be in the hands of Stu. 7-0 start for himself. Make it 8-0 start for Stu Ponzu. And they've completely shut out Queens. The overextension over to A, kind of on an island, is going to be conceded. But this time, still stopped at 50 seconds. It's going to allow for the respawns to have another hit for A before this is done. Here they come. Narcissus going to be in. Takes down Stu off of that spree. Is he going to be ready for the player inside of the staircase? No, Supa is going to lock down 2. Keep the time burning, as this is just last chance out of Queens. And even if they capture this, Jesse, the lives are so far out of their hands. RIT, they have the hold on this round.
Yeah, I mean, the lives, the time, it was coming down to it there, and I believe they finished up with like an 8-life lead for the likes of RIT in that round. A very, very dominant round number 1 defense coming out of RIT Esports. And I think the big thing there in that round is not only do you have a dominant round in terms of just not allowing them to even really touch the hill, get onto it, stop anything, but the fact you find 3 streaks in that round, you get 2 different strafing runs, you get a glide bomb. Breaking after having a defense round 1 and going into round 2, breaking into that B site with streaks is significantly easier than without. So a big advantage used to full force here from RIT through that round 1.
Oh, Nemo, a little bit of a test through mid. Information on Narcissus. Here comes the rebreak from Queens. That it's just not going to amount to anything at all. It's a 4 down, and RIT, they can stack this site so early. And while that's happening, Nemo's going to take this opportunity to push into the spawn, see if he can pick any of the rest of these players off.
Yeah, you're not even going to have Queens re-challenge this again. They say, hey, you know what, concede it. You guys can take this hill or this zone. We don't even care. At this point, they just need to play their lives. They need to find map positioning to zone these RIT players out. Because RIT through this game, that kill that you just saw, Colin, was their first death here inside of the round. Absolutely blinding start here for RIT.
You look hot on Gavatu. Even low. Not the map that you want to see them go to, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, they're not complaining right now about playing Gavutu, that's for sure. But you know what? This is a good answer back from Queens. They really have slowed the pace of this game down now. You're going to make RIT have to push up off spawn and really try to break their way into this. And with the way that they're forcing this and the way that RIT is playing this right now, it's looking more and more like Stu is probably going to invest streaks here in this round to try to find an opening, because Queen has so much map control. Because they overextended, they never re-challenge that A zone.
Well, it's kind of like one of those opportunities now for RIT. They got to just go to the strategy board. You just check off step by step how to take control of this spawn. It starts off in the back here. Stu finding Sue. And is going to draw some of these arrows from Queens out the back, but Conceited has an angle. Is going to find the kill onto him. So still a split kill feed, and Queens, they are going to be A-okay with this because they're still getting the spawns in the back, and they're still going to be able to back this up. They're just taking the lives off of RIT one step at a time and burning this clock.
And Lucid's in an interesting spot here now, too, because he can get into a spot where he can really just start to pick these players up off spawn. And you're seeing the numbers start to window down more and more here. And not even just talking about numbers, but also that clock. Only 40 seconds left here for Queens to be able to make a play out, or sorry, for RIT to make a play out to get into this. They look so in control of this round, and now they don't even have the numbers in terms of slaying.
They don't. Queens, they've found their way back in. They've clawed their way back in, Jesse. 27 seconds.
Do you even invest a streak here now?
I don't know if it'd be the best case, but I mean, if Nemo can find a route through the back, it could open things up. But Lucid makes the heads-up play, pushes all the way deep into the ring, is going to take control of the high ground of this map. And even if Nemo makes this route, it's not going to matter whatsoever because Queens, they have the high ground control. They have the better positioning in this whole situation, and Conceited can turn around and he can burn these players right off of this hill. And here they come. Astro up top, he finds two. Conceited now to spray and pray at the rest of them with the nade that's already set. Takes down Supa. Last one on the hill is going to be Stu Ponzu, and as they slide on in, they're going to overwhelm him out of this hill. 4 seconds left. Nobody's going to be able to touch.
Stu's going to get it there at the very end of that round, and that's going to be a really good answer back from Queens. That start of that round was looking really, really scary. It was looking like they were going to get absolutely, completely ran through inside of that round, but they just, they corrected their mistake. They stopped throwing so many lives over towards that A site and just allowed them to cap it. Once you allow them to cap it, they made the overextension through the middle of the map. They got the full setup they wanted for defense, and they didn't let anybody sneak through. It's exactly what you need to do when you get four-man wiped today. You just need to chalk the hill, play for B, because B is just, even with streaks, so tough to break, but we never saw the streaks really get invested there from RIT.
Time flip sides once more. Queens back on the offense. Got shut out last time. Loud shrieks go into the hand, this time with the break. Nemo's going to drop inside of ship, so that's going to allow Queens to start collecting this progress in the A zone and set up for this re-break that we're seeing at RIT. Big kill at Lucid, going to keep this time going the way of Queens. And the pressure keeps flowing. It's 3 down in the feed. You're going to need some players from RIT to get to this A zone soon, but with 2 players around it from Queens, have it pretty on lock. Here comes the break. Contention's going to be in. Nemo finds the kill from Lucid, and that's the break that they were looking for.
Yeah, you did have the 2-man stack, but the third tick will not come through here. It's just Conceited left alive. Conceited falls as well. So completely shut down that Queen's push over towards this A site. They're all going to come off spawn, trying to make the push back over, but Astro is still doing God's work through middle of the map. Finds 4 in a row. Can't make it 5 onto Conceited, and that's a huge kill just to get that player out of your spawn. You know how annoying that can be.
This is exactly the setup that RIT had to win that first round, Jesse. Just one more wave, and they're going to be on the knocking on the doors of the spawns for Queens, but Su's going to find Supa. Lucid to double down. They're into the A zone working on that third set of progression, and nobody in RIT looks like they want to battle onto this one. Supa's going to take one last swing at it, it looks like, but A zone's going to get pushed. They add a minute to the clock. Lives are even.
Big thing here, though, for Queens, if they do want to get this B site, they're going to need a full 4-man wipe and to dodge a ton of streaks on the side of RIT still. Because RIT, if things get very bleak in this round, they can still choose to invest those streaks. Because realistically, what do we see most often here on this map mode combination is just going defense for defense. And right now, it's really feeling like that's what this game is going to be. Nobody has really even made a tick of progress in over towards that B zone. And Stu even spots the player going top of that gun inside the LST ship, not able to get Narcissist. And actually, it looks like a full 4-man push towards bottom of the map now is starting to develop for this Queens roster. If they can push into this, they can really throw a wrench into this RIT setup and really get into some annoying spots. But again, RIT does have those streaks if they need to shut this down.
Stu spawns up again to McKen. And he's like, hey, guys, I need help back here. We're going to need some of these RIT players to go back and kind of pick up the rest of them. As you can finally see, RIT, they're giving up on the artillery. Su's going to find Supa. They hop up into the site, but Nemo up top, cutting them off as they push on in. So RIT, 12 lives to 9. Still holding on to things for this defensive end. The A site was captured, but now 24 seconds. Narcissist working into the backline. Finds 3 in a row. On a 5 spree, though. Working for those streaks. This would be a big one if you can find this last player, run the outside. Sunned up. Conceded's going to find it. They stopped the clock at 20 seconds, so RIT, you're going to have to put the pedal to the metal to hit this one. It does look like they're setting in for late flank. Stu's going to drop the hammer. Here comes the glide bomb. You can see these blue arrows are going to scatter right into the guns of RIT. It's 3 down. Lucid needs to go big for the team.
I think that's big, though, for Queens. Even though you're probably not going to win this round now, you're not in a great spot. You're spotted out. You don't have a ton of time. I very highly doubt we see them come back and win this round now unless they find a 4-man wipe and somehow get onto this zone. I still think this is a big play for Queens, though. You force the glide bomb out exactly then. You force it out before they're back on offense, before they have a chance to now use it on offense against you to try to close the game out here. Now Queens can just go about defense as usual. You don't need to worry about that glide bomb lurking in the back. And, I mean, we saw it in the last round. RIT was not able to get inside that B site. Even though they capped A, they never got into B. The B setup was just too strong for Queens, and now you don't even need to worry about the glide bomb.
Still streaks to worry about, so it's not like it's totally off the menu. The strafing run, you know, it's usually hit or miss.
It's not as good, though.
It's not as good as the glide bomb. It's pretty hit or miss, but it's something to be looking at here for RIT to work with. But this A site, like you said, it's been it has been lights out for RIT as they find a quick 3 to open it up. Narcissus is still alive through the middle of the map, but as he drops, RIT, they're looking to stack this. Queens, they don't want to let it go, though. They're going to hit this right off the spawn. Sue finds 2, so clears out the A zone, but while that's happening, Astro hops on B.
Yeah, Astro by himself over at the B site. Gonna get 1 tick of progress locked in.
Huge.
Gets a beautiful nade from across the map to be able to help him out from his teammates here. He will finally end up falling, but this makes a lot of the players on the Queens roster have to wrap back, clear out B, and he actually got a tick and a half of progress before they've even been able to hop onto this now. They will get rid of that half tick, but that's big. It opens up a lot of room now for these RIT players to be able to get off spawn, move back over towards A, and get into this site again. Otherwise, they could have been spawn trapped there.
Conceded. Looking to put them in that spawn trap that you were saying. Clock stopped at 54. 3 goes down again. Conceded now. Last alive in the back. And they know exactly where he is now that he took down Nemo. You know that RIT, they just need to sack this point and lock these fights down from each front. 2 players on the inside. The A side is going fast. It's going to be captured. Add him into the clock. He doesn't get there in time. Conceded is going to fall after all of that. And RIT now with a tick to B. They are in a pretty comfortable spot.
You don't have the full setup yet if you're Queens either. Not the full comfortable setup that you had in the last round because you don't chalk that A zone. You take that replay for it, and Lucid's going to catch a bad timing towards Top Gun as well. This opens up even more room now for Queens to start to make their push out and try to get in towards this next one. But everybody coming off spawn on Queens, they're starting to find these players and piece them together.
15 lives to 14, a minute 20, plenty of time for RIT to work with. And again, Narcissist this time in the spawns of RIT, so it's going to draw these orange arrows to look behind them, start to feed out this Narcissist player, to see if they can clear him out before they hit this B site, because if not, Narcissist is just going to pick off these rotations, and he's going to find another one before dropping, leaves these lives at a 3-life advantage for RIT, but and now off of that, Queens have been able to set up. Lucid caught with the grenade in his hand. Astro's going to find him inside ring. Conceded now, looking to go big for the squad. He's going to hit the deck and just burn this time for RIT.
Lucid might win the award for worst timing so far. He cannot catch a break right now on Gavutu on this defense, but the rest of his team still holding strong here so far. But that is a 3-for-1 trade. You find the 4th now if you're Stu, and this gives you full clearance to push up on this map. You got to pick up the mid cut. Stu picks it up, and this could really turn into a bad hold now for Queens. They only got 4 lives left, and RIT is picking them up off spawn.
RIT just came alive, electric style, bro. Stu's gonna drop the strafing run to cut off these rotations again, but it doesn't even come to the progression. It comes to the eliminations. They clear off the remaining Queens players, and they take Gavutu 3-1. Jesse, who would have guessed?
I mean, it's tough, right? Because as soon as you clear that player out of Top Gun, it makes making that break that much easier. And generally, you see 1 or 2 players up there. They not only find one, but they find both players. And I mean, I just feel so bad for Lucid. He's doing that role where you're pushing forward, you're getting into that aggressive spot, trying to cut these players off, trying to force them to spawn out as deep as possible. But Lucid could just not catch a timing to save his life up inside a Top Gun. And unfortunately, he gets pushed by 2 again, sitting in the exact same corner he was in before, ends up falling. And then as soon as he falls, it just opened up every avenue for RIT to move up on the map. They cleared out the beach side. All they had to do at that point was pick up all of their little mid cuts, make sure none of the Queens players could sneak through, and it just made life that much easier on that break onto the B site.
And it's insane to look at too, Jesse, because the way that we were shaping up this map number 3, I mean, Queens seemed like they got blessed with getting a Gava 2. 0-3 in Tuscan, it seemed like the map where they wanted to go to, but with it being RIT's pick, I mean, it's the map that they wanted to go to too, of course, and you see that Astro and Stu Pones you, both dropping 30 bombs in that, both doing so much for the squad to walk away with this win.
And that's RIT's first map win on Gavutu as well, so they're going to improve to one-on-one on that map mode combination, and that's going to give you a lot of confidence going later on into the season, being able to come out and not only take a map win on Gavutu, but also take an offensive round win. I think is even more impressive than winning a map of Gavutu as well. So good job done by them, able to close it out there, a nice little 3-1 victory. But now we need to look towards the back half of this series, and it's going to be Berlin coming up next. And I mean, in that first hard point, again, I know we got that disconnect through the middle of it, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint anything. But either way, through that first entire time, it felt like RIT was dominating in terms of rotations throughout that game. Queens really could not win a rotation. I think outside of P5 on the second set, that was the only time I saw Queens really set up early. Berlin is not a map where you can afford to be hitting from the front constantly. You need to make sure you're setting up early for these hills so that you can lock down time and lock down a good chunk of time. So on Berlin, that's going to be the number one answer, I think, for Queens for me. If they want to win this map, rotations are going to be absolutely everything for this roster.
I mean, you have to be thinking that disconnect. It's a little bit haunting to think of where you could be if that didn't happen. There's so many, situations that could have happened in that hard point. But right now, if you're Queens, you need to forget about that. You need to hit the full mental reset on both of those respawns, because you lost that hard point. It's unfortunate, but then you move over to the control where you had a chance to bounce back in another respawn, and RIT blow it out of the water. So RIT have really kind of solidified themselves as a strong respawn team inside of this series against Queens Esports. It's in this hard point that, I mean, you highlighted it yourself. This is where Queens now, they need to find that form that we saw inside that bocage, inside that early bocage. We have not seen it come to light since that happened. Ever since that disconnect, it just seems like this team has been a little bit unconfident inside of these respawns.
Well, it's hard to be confident and be slain when you're never in control of the hill and in control of the spawn, setting yourself in the right situations to find those right kills. And that leads me back to my other point again, where you just need to make sure this roster is setting up for these hills. I mean, if they can find the same success on P1 on this game, on this map, that they were able to find a bocage, great. That's going to be fantastic. It will give you a great start to this map. But it's every hill after that. You can't just be a one-trick pony, or in this case, a one-hill pony. You need to make sure you're locking down all 5 hills, making sure rotations are always on point, making sure we are ready to stop the other team from being able to find success at a rotating early, make them uncomfortable. It's so much easier. Exactly. I say this all the time. It is so much easier to sit in the back, sit on a head glitch, and wait for the other team to come to you than it is to be that team constantly having to push in and trying to break the hills. If you can play from the backside, hold hills down, you will find success on hardpoint.
Well, we kind of went into this, Jesse, realizing both of these teams pretty even on both ends of the field when it does come to their series score at a stage 1. In a stage 2, being into the tier 2 side of things for this division, I mean, this is really an opportunity for them to go up early inside of stage 2, kind of show what you have to offer against the rest of the teams here, and just get a comfortable position going into the rest of the week. So win against a team that's side by side with you inside of the standings coming out of stage 1 would be a big win. And now that RIT is up 2-1, they're looking to close it out here on Berlin.
They absolutely do want to close it out here. I mean, especially after how that S&D looked in map number 2, it just kind of felt like they had your number from Queens in that situation. You're now 5-8 in Search and Destroy. Definitely not your best game mode. So I think if you're RIT, you'll want to close it out here inside of this hard point. It's where you've been most comfortable this season, where you've got your most map wins. It's where they need to do it once again here. But again, a great break off right off the rip from Queens, right inside of hill number 1, and already a 15-second lead.
They had a feeling that somebody was going to be behind him. He is Astro, but conceded. Is watching this one on the inside. Nemo coming out with some big wins. It's 3 down, though, from RIT. So Queens, they still hold on to this first hill. RIT sent back to the respawn, and heading from the straight side, I mean, it's just a big question mark on even if you want to take another swing at this with only 15 seconds left.
I don't think you do. I really don't think you take another hit at this, but they will. They'll keep sending numbers, and Queens will keep knocking them down. So it's going to be a 40-1 lead right around that off the start of this game here. And you actually have a lot of presence over for Queens over towards this new hill, and that's because you hit that so late as RIT. And RIT off the start of this game, that is a big blunder. You've already lost a ton of time here, and Queens are going to have a great setup once again here. Now on to P2.
Lucid. Oh, get some bad timing again. Plagued from it, from the control. It's a big break from RIT. Is now they're going to be soaking up the clock. Conceded around the outside. Good for 2. Allowing for the opening for Queens to now start funneling on in one by one. Lucid finds Supo, but he's going to drop to Nemo. Still one-on-ones ringing out on the inside. Nemo locking it down with the last 24 seconds. You still have a player close, player number 7, Lucid, but he's going to drop to Astro, and it should be the scrap time picked up from RIT.
It's a big break there. You absolutely needed one. If you don't get that break, you're probably down 90 seconds to Queens after the first 2 hills. But in this case, Queens, they do end up giving it up. And actually a great route that Nemo's running right now. He finds one, not able to find any more. So everybody from Queens, they will spawn up here inside of P3. And now here comes the setup that is just so tough to break. Once you're fully set up here in the back and you're just forcing all the RIT players to have to push through small choke points, this is how you can really find a lot of success here onto this hill.
Here comes the break. Nemo finds 2. Off of the nade onto conceded. He's just going to fly. Queens still have the spawns at the back, so they're going to be able to hit this relatively fast. But it looks like the setup from RIT, they're well aware of that, and they're winning every single gunfight that presents itself. So it's going to be good for 1 in the back, but losing out on all these teammates is just not helping your case at all. Astro on 6 in a row. Make it 7 in a row. Full streaks in the hands now of RIT, and Astro is just picking them off the respawn. What is this angle?
Well, we talked about a blunder before. Well, that is it's a jet turbine that Astro has at the moment, because, I mean, he is just set up in the top of the window watching the player spawn in front of him. I mean, you had the exact setup you wanted for Queens. Unfortunately, stuns, nades comes through. You end up losing the spawns that you want. But, I mean, that is just perfectly played from RIT. They got it. It is not easy to hold that from the front of the hill the way that they just did. And they made it look absolutely like it was a walk in the park for this roster. And then you also get the full rotation now over towards the new hill. 20 seconds already gone, and this is the biggest lead that we've seen from RIT throughout this game so far.
Walk in the park over in P3, and they walk all the way over to P4 now. Full setup. Queens looking for the break, and again, just these gunfights not going their way. It's going to plague them for whenever this hit ends up happening. Astro still lining them up. 18-5, 19-5. As he's back on a 3 spree, he still has these streaks, and the rest of his team is cleaning up the back line. So 15 seconds now left for scrap time inside P4, and you can see that RIT already looking to rotate for P5.
Yeah, Nemo, he wants to get in behind these players already. Flip these spawns out to really start to annoy these Queens players. Make them think about these players in behind them. Make it a little bit tougher. And Astro's making the full wrap all the way through. And he didn't have that amazing of a map in map number 1. I wouldn't even say it was a bad one. But on this map number 4, where he's able to pull out the automaton and just play to full effect in this role, I mean, he is showing us exactly why he's one of the top slayers on this roster.
100%. Big lead for RIT. Set up for Queens now. Here comes the break. Astro from the side lines up
More
1,
streaks.
makes it a 2nd. He went on a 7 spree again, Jesse, but he already had full streak, so it didn't really matter whatsoever. Still Queens fighting for the lives inside P5, but still not able to walk away with a whole lot of chunk of time into this one. Dude's going to drop on down. It's 3 down out of Queens. It's going to allow RIT to resurge into this hill. But if you take a look at the minimap, if you draw to the lower left side of it, you can see that Queens, they got the respawns for the rotation. So now they're fighting for office.
Yeah, this is exactly what Queens wants to. They get those spawns down inside the bottom, but they don't actually spot the player making the wrap through the top side. And of course, it's Astro again. It was looking so good for Queens. They were looking like they were going to get the exact setup that they wanted, the exact setup they had through the first set of rotations. But it was just a perfectly timed flank from Astro. 25-7 through the first set of rotations. Those are ridiculous numbers for a map like Berlin.
Bokash numbers.
tick. That's what I was gonna say, but
Yeah, read your mind. We got this one on lock. Nemo as well as it on lock. Another set of streaks in the hands of RIT. 8 in a row for himself as he's just keeping on swimming right now inside Berlin. 18 and 9 for himself. RIT, they have exploded into this map for Jesse. 10 in a row for Nemo. It's superstar numbers out of Nemo and Astro. These are the main slayers that we were expecting, and this is exactly what we wanted to see out of them.
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've been waiting for you all day to make that reference. I knew it was gonna come at some point, knowing your brain and how you work. And Nemo actually gonna slide that bomb in perfectly inside of there, drops the hammer, takes another player out. The only player that was really close to the hill here for Queens, and they string another 2 hills together perfectly here. And RIT has just absolutely taken over this game. I mean, at one point, it was looking close off the start. Queens was doing a great job rotating, but RIT has just fixed their blunders from the early portions of this game. They have won every rotation since P3 on the first set.
Oh, tough nade from Stu. Gonna allow for a window of opportunity here for Queens to break back in for the last 33 seconds. Super uncomfortable through the wall. Narcissist gonna catch him. 3 seconds to pick up here. It would be a big set of time for Queens Esports to claw their way back into this, but a late break from Nemo is gonna deny it. And now Queens, they need to put all their eggs into the basket of P3.
They really do. Queens, they'll be the first team early and set up here, but yeah, I mean, you've got so many streaks right now to be able to invest here. I mean, you find one of your own, but it doesn't even matter. Astro and Supa, they're going to make their push from the front side here. They want to push in and look at Astro already setting up for this. He's actually going to fall out of the window this time, so needs to go back, make that reset up here through the top side. And as soon as all of his teammates find these kills here, they're so lucky. Queens is so lucky that they don't spawn up in the back again. I think you'd rather be spawned out here than be at that spot trap again from Astro.
And got a little bit of deja vu, and Queens are like, nope, we're going to go from the front again, fighting like they were on Bokash here for the break, but doesn't present itself. Another 3 down. Through the window comes Conceited. He's going to fall as well. A clean 4 down is going to keep RIT collecting this time. They won't win on this hill, Jesse, but they will get so close. Queens, they need to hit this. They need to deny some time out of the RIT side.
They can get very, very close. What, around 3 seconds off from winning if they hold on to the remainder of this time. You need the Narcissist effect on Berlin to come through in full effect soon. He popped off on this map inside of the Search and Destroy. You need him to do it again here, but they are just damned if you do, damned if you don't right now. You need to hit the whole time, but you also need to make the scrap and make the rotation over towards New. It's going to be 7 seconds. Sorry, make that 6. All that RIT need to win this game out now. Queens, you got the full setup you need. It needs to be a full 60, followed by a perfect rotation of P5 for RIT. All they need is 1 break, and this game is all over.
It needs to be perfect hardpoint, Jesse. Queens in control for now, but here comes the break at RIT. Supa in the back, Lucid's got his number. Astro's gonna find the trade, still ringing out from side to side, hit for hit on either team, but finally, a break at a Queens. They get the spawns for RIT, so they're gonna be able to reinforce this right away. Stu, at a distance, shots on the Narcissist, not gonna go down just yet. Nemo's gonna find the break on in with the help of Supa, so 2 seconds remaining. Nobody on Queens in a position to hit this one, and RIT Esports, they're gonna lock down another hard point, and they're going to start 1-0 up in stage 2.
250 to 166 there for RIT. Coming out hot here. And, I mean, yeah, you can't complain about that map there for RIT. And can we just one more time just witness that absolute monster of a spawn trap on P3 there? I'd be leaving the game, too, if I was the Queens players. That was... That was quite unfortunate for Queens at the very end of that one. And I mean, you basically were just... I don't think that there's a better way. I'm sorry, I completely keep cutting myself off, but I don't think that there was a better way to kind of sum up that map than that final kill cam with where Astro was sitting. Because he took over from that P3 onward.
Look, Jesse, we don't need to see Queen's stats to know that that was the Nemo Astro show. We're going to take a look back at the series as we get to see, I mean, that Bokash hardpoint, it was close, 250 to 226. The disconnect, if it doesn't happen, who knows what series we get out of that. But we move over to Berlin. You said it yourself, the Narcissist effect, 18 and 7. Having quite the game into that map too. Does it amount to anything? No, because inside the Gavatu, RIT, they say we could just do one better. We'll take an offensive round. We'll get a 3-1 victory inside Gavatu. We'll move over to Berlin and we'll just tear things apart. I mean, RIT, they came out and they came out hot inside of that Berlin hardpoint. 100% deserve to take that map. They look great.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny too because for RIT, they started off this season so well in Hardpoint, and they were kind of really struggling in Search and Destroy. Well, after week 5, it kind of flipped. Search and Destroy became the strong suit. Hardpoint kind of started to fall off. You got to imagine they were starting to scrim one mode a little bit more than the other, maybe just to kind of get a little bit better at it. But it starts to seem like they're finding their rhythm in multiple modes now. Yeah, you lose the Search and Destroy, but you get it done in 1, 3, and 4 in this game, and you get the job done. On the other side for Queens, it's still very much so 50-50 in a lot of these modes. I mean, coming into today, you were 7-7 in Hardpoint, 4-5 in Search, 2-4 in Control. Control needs to become a stronger suit for this team. You need to find one game mode at the very least where you are just a solid, confident team in to at least give you that solid chance. And I feel like Control needs to be that mode for this team, that they start to pick it up. Because if you can start to win that Control, you steal either 1 or 2. They're in the front, they're in the driver's seat going into the back half of this series, but they just weren't able to get it done in 1 and 2. And then Control, once you had that come through as a loss, it just makes it that much easier for RIT to close the series out.
And we talked about it at the start. You know, we can rehash at this point of what these teams are fighting for in Tier 2, Jesse, because when you're looking out at both these squads, we haven't seen Tier 2 on the Alpha stream for Stage 2 into this week. It's a first look at it. What does this mean? RIT starting off with a 3-1 victory.
I mean, it's big, right? Because it's going to automatically launch you up to that top or half of the Tier 2. I believe they're in the Northeast Tier 2. And starting off here, it's going to give you a better chance of being able to hit out towards that top 4. Now, note, it's not going to be an easy job by any means. When this team has played other teams inside of Tier 2 earlier on in the season, it was not the easiest for them. I mean, they struggled. They got smoked by Utica, and then they had a pretty 50-50 game. They went to Game 5 against another team. I can't exactly remember what team it was when I was looking over it all, but if they want to be able to have more success against these teams, they need to do exactly what they did today, and they got the job done. It's going to be tough, but top 4, it's what everybody's aiming for right now, and a good win to start things off here for RIT is exactly what they needed.
Well, that's going to be all she wrote, folks, for this week 1 of Stage 2. A lot of storylines are already starting to form with all kinds of players, and if you want to keep up with the business, make sure that you follow us on Twitter over at College Con. But as I alluded to, it'll be all for the stream for tonight on Alpha and Bravo. Can't wait to see you all next week for Stage 2, Week 2. It's going to be the same time, same place, next Monday. We'll see you there. Have a great night, everybody.